Hello and welcome along to the Turn 1 podcast, the show that is by the fans for whoever wants to listen, really. Joining me, as always, are my regular guests, Lard.
Good evening.
Will.
Hello, Internet.
And Henry.
Good evening, Internet.
Gentlemen, how the devil are you? You all right?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good.
It's been a couple of weeks. Just switching over to the Let's Game tag, so we're on there. It's been a couple of weeks, really, since we last played, wasn't it? Since we last had a chat. It was Spain time.
Long time ago.
It was a long, long time ago.
Or in a galaxy far away.
Absolutely. So, let's talk about the first thing. Penalties. Was it a penalty? Wasn't it a penalty? I mean, what are we talking about? VAR systems in World Cup, honestly. You know, should they have retaken that penalty, against Scotland when the keeper came off an inch off the line? That's what I'm talking about.
Hey, an inch is an inch.
That is a podcast title, if ever I've had it. An inch is an inch. Inch is an inch.
I'll wait to say what I think about this until last.
Okay.
Hey. I haven't done a car setup. Oh.
Shall I go first then?
Go for it.
I don't think it was a penalty. That's all I'm going to say on it. I don't think it was a penalty. There's a few drivers that also say it wasn't a penalty either. So it's done now. It's done and dusted. Technically speaking, it's under the. They've had their right to appeal, haven't they? They lost that, so that's it. All done.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, you call that a right to appeal?
Yeah.
Karun Chandok is my evidence.
Yeah.
I don't know. That was a bit weird, that, wasn't it?
Wow, Ferrari. Wow.
You think there'd be
Clutching at
more?
straws much?
It does feel like it, doesn't it? I have not
You
got
think?
this
You think they'd have more than that, though, wouldn't you? Do you know what I mean?
That was pretty embarrassing. It was more than the penalty,
Yeah.
which he totally deserved.
So,
Oh, it's gone silent.
no, because
I'm
for
just waiting for
once,
others to say it.
for once, I am on the side of you, Will. I think he deserves it. And here's my thought. And I explained this to Henry the other day, and he got really upset with me about this. But I'm gonna.
No, I didn't. No, I agree. No, you told me on the phone, and I agreed in principle with what you said.
So, he came off the track. Hamilton was 1 point something seconds, 1.6 seconds behind like that as it went into turn 2 or turn 3. Sorry. So concentrate on this lap. There we go. Oh, just Will to get fastest lap. That's fine. If he had the way it was going was Hamilton had to yield in order for Vettel to get back on. Otherwise, it was all wall and no car left at the end of it for both of them. If Vettel had just come back on the track, eased off, let Hamilton past, and then just continued, we would have had a race with no penalty. And then it would have been a case of Vettel made a mistake, Hamilton got the lead through that mistake. But we wouldn't have had this controversy about it. So I think the penalty was correct, because if Vettel just yielded, if Ferrari had just gone, okay, Sebastian, we need you to give the position to Hamilton, then it would have been fine.
What accent was that, mate? To be
A
honest,
rubbish accent, that's what I was saying.
Have you been listening to James, his accents? Because, that was up there with his.
Yeah, that's all right. I was on Vettel's side of the argument, but changed my mind. But that's what I think. Go on, Will.
I don't even think he needed to let Hamilton back through. All he needed to do was come off the power and stay to the left-hand side of the track. Because he gained grip and then just carried on in a straight line. Show a bit of willing, turn left, go, Hamilton, I've gone this far because I've got control of my car and now I'm giving you the room. I'd have been like, fair enough. I still think it's a harsh penalty. But it was deserved, I think, in the end.
It's consistent. That's the thing. It's consistent with Hamilton a few years ago at Spa. It's consistent with Verstappen last year in Japan. So, in that respect, it was justified. in this respect, I also do think the penalty was just because, he made a mistake anywhere else, then he would have to have given that place up because he was coming back in a manner that if Hamilton had hit him, we'd have been talking about this completely different. So much differently. We'd have been talking about this. We'd have been talking about this alongside like how Hamilton and Vettel had to come together in Baku.
Oh, yeah. Just my front wings.
And it just seems that at the moment, because of the dominance of Mercedes, people are trying to do anything and everything to try and break that domination, including saying, "Well, this penalty's harsh." It wasn't. He didn't give Hamilton room.
Yeah, I could forgive the unsafe return to the track because basically there was no other way to return to the track, in my opinion.
Yeah,
there's that piece of grass, you slide off, that's it. But as he straight lined and maybe turned slightly right to gain the car after he auto corrected the understeer, that was where he crowded him off the track, and that's what the penalty was actually for. And I don't think the rule applies there. That's my thing. And Verstappen got the penalty on Raikkonen last year. Was that?
No, it's Japan, wasn't it?
Japan. Japan, yeah. Didn't Hamilton get the similar penalty some years ago?
Spa. Yeah, in Spa, when he came off at the final chicane, the bus stop chicane, and came back on, he didn't pass the cone right, and so he got that penalty.
I'm sure we'll come to cones later on, but yeah.
Cone chat.
Cones hotline.
Cone chat with Will Stoy-Stevens.
So, honestly, it was harsh, but it was fair.
Yeah. I concur. Henry, you're the one who's got a slightly different opinion, and we like discussion on this podcast. Go for it.
I just think it was harsh. Maybe it wasn't. They could have sorted it. They could have just said to him, race it on track. If he doesn't get past, then just have Hamilton and Vettel go to the stewards after the race. Even if it's for 10 minutes before they go on the podium, and without any team members with them, just the two drivers, and sort it out that way would be the way I'd do it, if that makes sense. Because in 2016, there was a similar incident at Monaco involving Hamilton and Ricciardo, and Hamilton didn't get a penalty.
Can you really crowd anybody off at Monaco because there's walls everywhere? Yeah. Where was the incident?
Yeah, the reason I brought Monaco in was because that part of the track is quite tight compared to the rest of the track. But as I said, it's done now. Ferrari didn't really bring a lot to the table when they were, getting their review done. So
Sanduk's Sky Sports F1 analysis.
Exactly. Which, I mean, why didn't they just ask some drivers to go along and Sky asked the drivers at France. Why didn't Ferrari ask the drivers?
Except there was there was two people apparently that weren't asked. That was brought to my attention yesterday. Toto Wolff and Lewis Hamilton were not asked about it in France.
But Lewis said, didn't he, after the race or Sunday evening, if he was in Seb's shoes, he would have done exactly the same.
Oh yeah, because he's the driver and was going for the win.
Oh yeah. Carlos Sainz at France said he would have done exactly the same thing.
But don't forget, at times drivers are, they're their own worst enemy.
Of course they are. They wanted this sort of ruling, didn't they? They wanted this ruling.
Yeah. So they got in, and it's been enforced, and now they can.
Of course.
Are we seeing the lost legacy of Charlie White in here?
Yes.
Been very confident about it and gone, this is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
It'd have been over. There'd have been a decision, and people would have accepted it. Because I know marshals or whoever they were who decided this, I forget the technical term, whoever, got a lot of flack for this.
Yeah.
And
I think
it was unfair.
No, I think if the stewards had said it's no penalty, then people would have been on their case. I think they were in a no-win-win situation, to be honest.
They got a lot of abuse, which they didn't.
They didn't deserve that.
Yeah.
No. But Charlie had been there and standing common ground with the drive, with the teams, and the decision might have come out the same, but it'd have been better received.
Yeah.
We've lost that friendly face of F1.
If they'd come out and said it's because when he came back on the track he didn't leave any space or whatever, then you go, okay, that's fair enough.
Okay. What have we got in the comments, Henry? Anything in relation to this at all?
Tesla said, I still think he did an extra bit of steering he didn't need to make, which makes it look a lot worse. I think Kareem tried to explain that, didn't he, in his thing? That's why I think Ferrari used that. Michael Patterson said, but Kareem Chandok is the best F1 driver that there's ever been. His opinion holds a lot of weight. So,
that's a good one, that.
Ted did the Notebook in Canada.
Yes.
And he tried to say what Niki Lauda would say after the race.
What would Niki Lauda say? Yeah.
So he said, like, Niki Lauda would go over to James Vowell and James Allison, talk to him first, get all the information in his head, because that was the kind of person he was, and then he would then talk to the media, but he'd also be honest about it. So he may have come out and said, yeah, we didn't deserve the win, hard luck and Vettel, blah, blah, blah. That's probably what he would have said.
Yeah.
Interestingly enough, that was the first time I've seen Ted's Notebook on YouTube as a highlight. They don't usually put that on. So for Canada, they thought it was necessary.
Yeah. Well, he asked a few fans, didn't he, while he was there, about the
and they all
penalty.
said it was harsh, and it's like...
I get why they feel it's harsh, because they've obviously spent a lot of money getting there, and watching it. I get that, but it's harsh, but in the day, it's probably the right thing.
It's the right thing to do, because this would have gone, the uproar of it, if it had been the total wolf and that, and Mercedes would have been like, why didn't you get a penalty? And it probably would have,
I think if they'd have crashed, then Vettel would have got a penalty. If Vettel had kept his foot on the grass and say he spun and lost control and then hit the wall and took Hamilton out at the same time, then he would get a penalty there. He would have got a penalty that way as well.
Yeah, because it would have been a very, very nasty accident.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Vettel got 2 points in his licence as well, which has got to be noted.
Yes, he did, didn't he? 2 points on the Super
Didn't he
Bowl.
get one on his licence for the Bahrain spin as well, perhaps?
Henry, can you do some research a little bit later on about updates on points?
I can.
Thank you.
I think he's gained some point this season as well. He's got no grounds on Grosjean, but, he's gaining a few points on licence.
Yeah, but he's the choke artist, and it happened again. He was in front. Yeah, he had a decent lead over Hamilton, and he choked.
Yeah.
He threw it away. He binned it.
See, I think the drivability of that Ferrari is not so great in dirty air, because that's twice. Bahrain was the same. Hamilton came in front of him, and it lost it. So the aero package on that car unsettles it in dirty air, which is why he keeps spinning, as well as the pressure, of course, because it was 2 cars in front of him, wasn't it, at Canada? Some traffic.
There was some traffic in front of him, wasn't there? Yeah.
But they reckon distracted him. I think it was just the aero coming off them.
In Bahrain, there's a wind as well, wasn't it?
Unsettled.
Yeah. I think it's really temperature and wind dependent, that Ferrari.
Yeah, I was going to say, because wind was Bahrain as well, wasn't there, that corner? There was a bit of wind there, wasn't there?
Just looking into Ferrari a bit deeper, it might not be the driver's fault. It may actually be the conditions of the races.
Nice move.
We've got a nice move on Leclerc there. That was a good one from me. I like that. Every now and then, if you're listening to this podcast for the first time, every now and then we do talk about the game itself and what's happening. And you might hear the occasional road crap or something like that. But today's
A little bit more fruity from me.
yeah, depending on what mood Lard's in. So, can we park? Are we going to park this? So we're kind of all in agreement about Vettel, the penalty. It is correct. They just got a bit more flack, and 2 weeks later, now the dust has settled.
I think what would help is if they had the same people making the penalties up instead of having different people, because different people would view it different ways.
So
If it had been three different things, they might have gone no penalty, and then we'd be here sitting going, was it a penalty? Was it not? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Can Ted cover this as well in his notebook, saying about how the stewards are chosen? One's local, 2 are from the FIA, something like that.
And
Yeah,
one's like a former driver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't get paid for it either, do they?
Well, no. But that was the thing about Charlie, wasn't he? Because he was at every race. Maybe they needed the consistent steward somewhere.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was just the 3 of them, and then the one from the local and the one driver that changes. I don't know.
Oh, that's a lovely pass.
You want somebody local, don't you? Then you want somebody maybe who has been a driver or has driven that track, maybe.
Like Karun Chandok, to be fair, a driver that's sort of been in it.
Yeah,
I like the way you said that. I like the way you said "been in it." I honestly thought "been in it," as in ditching the car into a wall or something.
Or Anthony Davidson, Paul de Resta.
That sort of class of driver that we've just sort of fired off.
Slow car, Lard, you're right behind me. Slow car, right hand side, Raikkonen.
Jensen Button, Nico Rosberg. There's still enough ex-F1 drivers out there that have driven most of the tracks to know to give that sort of feedback, I suppose.
But I think they're just choosing people obviously not in this sport. I know they've got a super license, but they're not F1 drivers.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know how they pick it, to be honest, but...
No. But, yeah, maybe the stewarding needs looking at, really.
Yeah.
For their bit of consistency.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that is something that yeah, I agree. I can't add any more to that. So let's talk about the other thing. Let's go back to...
Grosjean's got more points on his licence than the World Championship. He's got 7 points on his licence.
Whee.
Thank you, Michael Patterson, because I did notice that as well.
Thank you, Michael Patterson. Anyone who wants to join in on the chat, please join in. Henry's on mod control with the chat, so he's keeping an eye. So that anything we discuss, you're more than welcome to join in. It's still a yellow flag situation on the back straight, as Raikkonen's car has now just disappeared off the grid.
It's no longer there.
What else was Canada about?
Should we talk driver of the day?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Who would you vote for driver of the day?
I actually would go with the with Stroll.
Stroll is a good shout.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
For the
I mean,
guy
he did have a good race.
Go on, Will. Sorry.
He really did have a good race in that, which is, you know, for his hometown or home race, apparently it does give you that little bit extra, as Mansell used to say about Silverstone.
But you can see what it meant to him as well. He was genuinely pleased.
Yeah. And I agree. For the guy that we normally put down as Idiot of the Week, in one form or another, when we do our predictions.
Yeah, we do. Yes, we do.
He has been on he along with Grosjean has been on Idiot of the Week every time so far.
And yet we're actually praising him for his drive in Canada.
A fantastic drive, you know.
Yeah.
I noticed he got some flack for not thanking the team. He was very selfish and said it was all me.
Yeah, well,
But, he was excited.
that's the thing.
But yeah, he did a good race. I think he deserved driver of the day.
He had a brilliant race.
Pace
The one
17.9, wasn't it?
The one I disagreed with was Leclerc getting second in Monaco for driver of the day.
Because he's just from Monaco.
Well, God knows, because he did, 8 laps and was out? Yet got 15% of the votes.
Yeah, that was
It's his driver of the day. I was like, okay.
Good job, nice overtake.
This feels like Formula E and the fan boost.
Oh yeah.
That's my big problem with Formula E.
But what about who else would have been contender for driver of the day then if we didn't have Stroll? Who else would you have said was driver of the day?
Didn't the Renaults do well?
Ricciardo finished P6 and Hulkenberg kept Bottas behind him, but Bottas did have an engine issue in the race due to overheating, so maybe that's why he didn't breeze past Hulkenberg.
But that was a solid performance by Renault.
Yeah.
It was.
So you could give it to Ricciardo, perhaps?
Yeah.
Come in the top out of the lot?
Have to go round again for another lap, or should have went in.
I didn't think Canada was that bad a race, really. The midfield was reasonably,
The cars could follow each other quite closely without, losing their tyres or whatever. I think, I think it shows that these front wings are doing the job they were meant to do.
Yeah, because we'll talk about a certain team that is really struggling with them in a bit because of the lack of lack of elements on the front wing, shall we say? Talk about that about France. One more thing to go through. K-Mag.
Idiot of the week, surely.
He's idiot of the week.
For what reason?
Well, let's face it.
Two.
Let's start with the obvious one. A, binning his car in Q2 and causing his teammate a big thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
pretty,
getting him to get knocked out at a qualifying because of his car.
And then secondly, throwing his dummy out of the pram because his car was uncontrollable and he didn't really acknowledge the fact that the team had spent all night repairing the car. And I know that was his frustration about how the car drove, but come on, show some sense when you're going over radio.
I just love the fact that Gunther Steiner jumped onto the radio.
Yeah, that was.
I think what got me is how slow. 3 laps down with a Ferrari engine. I mean, Jesus, that's bad.
They're struggling badly.
Yeah, 3 laps down, fine. They lost to a Williams. That's how bad Haas are.
At the minute, they're just so bad. They were so quick as well at the start of the season. They were quick, and then it's just all gone wrong for them.
I love everybody defending Grosjean. He's got 2 points this season so far.
I don't like the guy. He's very political about things.
We'll come to that today, won't we?
Yeah.
Later on.
Yeah, he's extremely political about things. I don't like the guy. I think he's overrated now.
That Perez pass, and he was like, "No, it's the penalty." It's like,
it's gone back to that. I think Ericsson hit me business, isn't it? Ever since Azerbaijan, you always keep an eye on what he says.
He was good at Lotus, and it's just not really worked out for him at Haas, has it? He was hoping to get the Ferrari seat.
Yeah, that really didn't work out for him, did it?
I can see Giovinazzi getting it before he does.
That is very true.
I can see Kubica getting it before him. Yeah, I said it. I went there.
What's going on with Haas? It's just...
I'm guessing is it tyres?
I don't know, because they can do it for quali.
There's 5 laps of
Well,
fuel remaining.
they have been able to do it for quali. This France was not such a thing, but Magnussen says he'd happily switch quali pace for race pace.
Of course he would.
They must know what's wrong with it.
Unless they're getting wrong data from the wind tunnel.
Well,
if it's not matching up with what they're seeing on track.
Yeah, because if Ferrari have got it wrong and Haas have tried to copy them, as they, maybe they've bugged themselves up.
Oh,
maybe. You know, it seems like for a team that has pretty much the Ferrari B spec. What's going on?
We're about a lap over time.
Malcolm Petson said, I was actually joking about the Grosjean fact. I didn't know it was true.
6.7 seconds.
Thank you very much for the immortal McLeod for the host, buddy. Thank you very much.
No, that was going on.
I hit the apex. Right as I hit that bottom hairpin. There we go. Right, there we go. But yeah, considering it's pretty much they are the Ferrari B team. What the hell is? They're not
really the Ferrari B team.
That's how they were set up, really, wasn't it?
No, they just buy bits from Ferrari, which like Racing Point will buy bits from Mercedes. The real B team is I'm going to say Sauber, but it's not Sauber, it's Alfa Romeo.
Faster than us by around.
But they've struggled as well, haven't they? They struggled in Canada as well.
Yeah.
Kimi didn't get the best of starts, was it? And Giovinazzi spun it again.
Well, Kimi and Sainz had the same issue, didn't they? They pitted about lap 3.
The tear-offs.
The tear-offs ended up in the brake ducts for both cars. So they had to go to the end on hard tyres, and their tyres just gave up about 5 laps from the end. That's why they just fell back.
Very strange, that one.
Yeah. Which leads back to something that was discussed a couple of years ago when they were talking about rule changes and everything. Should F1 cars, I know they're supposed to be as light as possible, but should they have like little pockets in the car so you could put the tear-offs in to stop things like that from wrecking competitions' races, competitors' races?
You're taking your hand off the wheel, aren't you?
Yeah.
They're taking a hand off the wheel to tear the strip away.
Yeah, but it's not. If you get your arm stuck in the cockpit, because it's quite tight, and you're ending driving 190 miles an hour with one hand, you're driving to...
You're not in control of the car.
Yeah, would you pass that as a test?
I don't think it would it? as you've rightly pointed out.
Because, of course, Grosjean had to do a bit of tidying up as well, didn't he? Lap 1, turn 1. Punching out a bit of, was it Albon's front wing?
Yes, it was, wasn't it?
Which was interesting. Because it nearly entered the halo. Because if he'd have had a piece of something stuck in that halo with him,
Yeah.
come in, like Hamilton did when his headrest come out.
Yeah, he would have had to box, wouldn't he?
That'd have been what? Orange flag or black flag, whatever it is.
Orange and black, wouldn't it? Orange and
Yeah.
Flag. Or it's orange and black. It's the black flag with an orange circle, something like that, isn't it? We had this discussion with Saul last week, didn't we? Or last time, sorry, with Monaco podcast. How long we got left of this race? 2 laps.
I can't find anything about Vettel getting any points from Canada.
I swear it was 2 when I saw.
2. I agree with Will. I think it was 2. I'm sure it was on the Sky Sports website about that.
Let me have a look.
Or
On
check
Sky.
Planet F1. That's my go-to page. Yes, I have go-to sources, guys.
We've only got 2 laps of fuel
I
left.
think it was the when they released the statement itself and showed us how bland it was, and it said 2 points to the driver as well.
Oh, Ricardo's been given 2 time penalties.
2.
Ooh.
Give me more information, please. Breaking news.
So he's been given 2 time penalties for legal overtakes. So he drops from 7th to 11th after being handed separate 5-second sections. Raikkonen gains to 7th. Hülkenberg goes 8th, and Norris moves into 9th. Gasly goes to 10th.
So Red Bull get a double points finish after all that.
Yeah. Well, it was McLaren had 10th anyway, didn't they? With Norris.
Yeah.
Yeah, because didn't Ricciardo say in the post-race interview he'd be happy if they got like 7th and 9th? So he only must have thought he'd get 1 penalty.
I think they were going to get 1 penalty for the Raikkonen move. The other one's a bit contentious because other drivers have been running Raikkonen and not getting penalties. So
I agree.
Will they review that? I don't know. We don't know. It's just breaking news, so I thought I'd drop it in.
I don't think they'll review it. It'll go the same way as it's been too long to come up with a review. Let's face it, the race finished at what, 4 o'clock? It's now at the time of recording it's 7:30.
Yeah, but if they've only just announced the penalty, which it looks like they are, Renault can go and say, can we have a review? And they can review it next week at Austria. If Renault can actually do the job properly compared to Ferrari.
Does it say what the penalty was for? So one was Raikkonen.
I think one of them is for the move down the back straight. You know, when he was off the track attacking Raikkonen. I think the first one was Norris when Norris left the track. But let me see if I can find out.
Or the overtaking him off track again, basically. It could be either, because he sort of off and then forced him off.
Ricciardo's been given 2 5-second penalties for leaving track, rejoining unsafely and forcing another driver off the track and gaining an advantage.
So it was the start of that. I enjoyed
place there. That was a good race.
And I can see our driver.
I almost had you there.
You did. That's what I was saying. How many laps to go? And I was watching you close in and close in and close in. Yeah, I was a bit worried there.
Not bad from starting 17th.
Not bad at all, eh? So
penalty. I thought Canada was a good race, really. I think that if anything, the penalty sort of ruined it.
It did. I agree completely, but I agree with you. It's a good race too.
It wasn't as memorable for me. So apart from the penalty, there's nothing that I really remembered about it. So again, so far this year, only one race has been really memorable, and that's been Bahrain.
I think that's fair.
Yeah, I agree with what Lard just said.
I think Monaco will go down eventually as a bit of a classic, even though we know it was only going to go one way. But, you know, how it's been hyped up, I think it'll go down as a... what was it, Nigel Mansell and whoever it was?
Nigel Mansell and Senna in 92.
Yeah, I think it'll go down as the modern equivalent.
Yeah.
But yeah, 6 out of 10, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. I'll give it a solid 7.
I don't know. I think I'd give it a 6.5, maybe a 6.
6.5. I was going to say 6, but
Yeah.
Before we move on to the next race, let's go into the predictions with that one, because then I can take that off the slide a little bit later on. So we have predicted. So the actual what we had was what was it? Canada. Hamilton first, Vettel second, Leclerc third. Best of the rest was
Ricardo.
Yep. Bottas was the fastest lap, and we put K-Mag down as the
Idiot of the week.
Now, out of everyone did it at this point. So let's go to where is it? It is prediction scorecard.
Do you need a calculator?
No, it's all done. Just switching over to the prediction scorecard now. After 6 rounds, this is how it stands. So Will is still in the lead with 35.5. Then it's myself with 23.5. Lard with 21. Jay and Henry with... Damien with 24. Lard with 21. Jay and Henry with 19.5 apiece. So there it is. So Will has the lead at this precise moment. But we have had France, and I've done all the calculations, and we have agreed on an Idiot of the Week. We are going to go and talk about France next, yeah? Because I've not done a setup for France, so I have no idea what to do for setup on this. Which is never a good thing. You know what I mean?
We could always go for the break now, sort out some things, and do the France break, and then after that.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Is everybody up for an early break? Is everyone all right with that?
Yes.
Is everyone all right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, we're going to take an early 5-minute break, and we'll be back for an extended bumper last session, which will be about an hour and 20 minutes. We'll see you then. Have a good one. Take care. Bye. Welcome back. Welcome back to part 2 of the Tomo podcast. I don't know what I was going to call it there. No idea. But yeah, we're back. And if you're listening, thank you for tuning in. If you're watching this on YouTube, we do have a YouTube channel. You can join us live on race week, normally after qualifying, so 8 till 10 on a Saturday. Yeah, well, I'll say welcome back to my guests. Welcome back, Will, Henry, and Lard. Welcome back, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So
we're going to go back to the game, and we're going to do part 2, which is Francais. So let's talk about something came up on the break that we're going to have a quick chat about, which was an unusual retirement for Lando Norris in Canada. Who wants to kick that off a little bit?
hey, you're the McLaren fan. You go.
Yeah.
Okay. So, unusual, really unusual. I mean, they still never figured out what it was, really, did they? We thought it was overheating brakes that did it. The brakes went, and then it just melted away.
The suspension.
Yeah, the suspension went because it was on fire when he stopped the car. So
Yeah.
his brakes are a tad hot.
just a tad. I want to save. I want to load a car setup. That's what I want to do. Not tried this car.
But
setup.
interesting failure.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that car's been pretty solid this year.
It has, hasn't it?
I doubt we'll see anything like that again this year, though, will we?
Who was it last year that had something similar and it cracked? Was that Toro Rosso?
Oh god, now you're pushing my memory. I can't remember. Maybe it was just the track.
Yeah,
Maybe it was just the track because it was like 50 degrees, wasn't it? Maybe it was just the track.
Trying to get into France today, that was hot as well.
That was hot, wasn't it?
But there's a lot of space, isn't there, in France, as people can see, you know. Whereas in Canada, it's all enclosed with concrete barriers and stuff. Maybe that just ramped up the heat a bit.
Because we're not actually sure when it went either, because he didn't hit a wall. He braked into the final chicane. And then didn't, and then it broke, I think.
I think the brakes just failed.
It went in turn 8, didn't he? His brakes had gone by turn 8. The previous lap had gone because he went straight on. He's gone straight on, and then he's got the hairpin coming up.
Yeah. You know what a talented driver he is after today?
Yeah, absolutely.
He broken car on the road.
Yeah.
I mean, all the respect.
Let's talk.
It shows the caliber that he can be then.
Well, let's talk about that, shall we? Because they've got to be the standout. Both McLaren drivers, Norris and Sainz in France. What a weekend for McLaren!
I think the track suits together.
They're starting to get their act together, and it's starting to come together again. They're on their way back up.
They really are. And I was having a chat off the air before they even started with Henry, and saying, "What about your guys there?" Henry, if you haven't noticed, is a big Renault fan, a huge Renault fan, and started blasting me about how Renault were better than McLaren.
Hey, you've done a good job this year. We're going to say it. You've done a good job this year.
The customer team has done better than the actual team.
Yeah.
It's not the first time Renault's had a customer team do better than the actual team.
Yeah, well, look what happened to Red Bull. We soon blend them off, didn't we? Oh, I shouldn't have said that out loud. That's Red Bull's own fault. That's what I'm going to say on that.
Did you qualify on the Ultra Softs?
Did indeed.
So am I the only one on the Super Soft option? Soft option.
Probably.
But I've got somebody to look out for now. I'm scared.
What, Lard?
Pressure. Yeah.
I'm slow and steady. I'm consistent.
Keep it up. You hold that 20th place, sir.
I'm consistently crap. Yes, I know.
That's 16th.
What's going on in the chat? Well, very quickly, Will. Henry.
Michael Patterson said, "Are you all looking forward to getting the new F1 game, which is released in the next few days?"
Oh, good question. Start with you, Henry, since you read that one out.
I am looking forward to it, and I probably will get it at some point.
Cool, Lard.
Graphically, yeah, I am looking forward to playing it. I have heard that if you take the Formula 2 scenario away, then it's just basically just an update of this.
Right. Will?
Well, you'll be able to see what I think of it when I play it and put a video on for the Turn 1 podcast.
Ooh. Video for the Turn 1 podcast. I'm liking the sound of that.
Video hype.
Video hype.
All right. Engage the clutch. Hold the clutch down.
Stall it. Calling it now.
Off the mark.
Bloody hell, Alonso.
Bloody hell, where's he come from?
Uh-oh.
Oh, I've slotted in.
That's what she said.
Here we go. Let's start the smut, shall we? I've never driven this circuit on the game before. The sound effects are coming through. Who sounded like they were having a deep poo?
I'd have been me.
Will, ladies and gentlemen, Will is playing this while sitting on the toilet. That's how much of a committed gamer he is.
Can't see the track because the telly's in the living room, but I'm guessing.
I thought you were using FaceTime for that.
What did we overall think of the French Grand Prix today?
I thought it was all right. I think it wasn't the most thrilling race in the world. I think Crofty was a bit harsh sometimes, calling it boring and asking Ted to go and find a sprinkler system to turn it on at the side of the road. Which
I think because they can change the layout, so I reckon if they've perfected it, it could be a good race. I mean, I wasn't a boring race, but
no,
it wasn't great. Let's be honest. No. I mean, I kind of agree with Crofty because did you see on Twitter there was the F1 broadcasting or motorsports broadcasting Twitter page, which he just did one tweet. There's 13 more races to go. Really surprises. Oh God, it's so boring so far. Especially not this race. And I kind of agree with them. I mean, yeah, you got the midfield battle, but we want the battles at the front. We want Hamilton challenged.
Yeah.
I think that's just going to be that's the sport they're in it really at the minute.
Yeah, I mean the midfield was really exciting.
The midfield's probably the base to be, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, I mean that was an incredible race of strategy, overtakes, squabbling between teammates. I mean it was really exciting if you just look at it from there. Take out
the Ricardo move on Gasly.
Yeah, all moves really. There were some nice ones.
There's some great overtakes, some great, like you say, good calls on undertaking for pit stops and everything like that. It's really good.
We should say thank you to the person who runs the track, shouldn't we, really? So, Eric Boulier, thank you.
I mean, Monaco was definitely more boring than that. If you take out Lewis again. I mean, there was you'd still got the McLarens, and you got Lando's issue towards the end with tense. You've got like the Alphas starting to play off against Gasly, was it?
Yeah.
The 10th place. There was stuff going on everywhere, really.
Back of the grid, even at the back.
Yeah, well, we'll come to that, I think. I'm not going to be last ever again. Kill my teammate,
Oh, flip. Whoa, what's going on here? Whoa, 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 whoa.
I thought qualifying was good this weekend. You got the the Renaults and the McLarens getting through, which was very exciting.
Yeah, that was good to see the McLarens and them just starting to really, really come together again.
Yeah.
I hope it's not. With McLaren obviously coming further up the grid, they stay up there, and it's not like tracks. Like certain tracks where they're quick. I'm hoping they'll be quick over all the races.
This was a track that even McLaren said they were not expecting to get anything. They weren't expecting top 10. They weren't even expecting the front row grid out. Front row grid out. What the hell am I talking about? Row 3 lockout. They weren't expecting that.
I mean, they're going to go up and down because the midfield's everywhere, but I think the consistency there where they're going to be, strong.
Yeah.
As a team. They're how many points behind or in front of Renault at the minute? 4?
5, I think.
There were 4 in front before Ricciardo's penalty.
Oh, so I bet that's changed around, but still, that's a very
about 6 then.
2 teams.
Yeah, it's pretty close. In fact,
that's going to be interesting.
Let me have a look, see if I can find out.
But, I thought qualifying was good. Obviously, Seb having issues, was it, in qualifying? The final one, Q3.
Q3.
Yeah, didn't he?
But made up how many positions off the start, which was.
He didn't make up any off the start, did he? I don't think.
I thought you made up at least one.
No, he didn't. He took him 4.5 laps to get past Norris. Was it Norris?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Must have been.
In fact, he lost a place at the start to Ricciardo.
Yeah, I thought that was funny. All teammates.
It's 8 points.
8 points between Renault and McLaren.
Yeah.
Well, McLaren and Renault.
Yeah.
The best of the rest. That's a tight battle, that is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it's a Racing Point on 19, Alpha on 19, Toro Rosso on 17, and Haas on 16.
So the whole midfield's pretty tight then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apart from Williams.
Yeah. Apart from...
Let me calculate how many points they've got. No help, Henry. I can think about this myself. Is it?
Take your time, think about it. Just take your time.
I swear it's none. Definitely none.
I thought it was -1.
It's none.
I think you might be right there.
Be aware we expect the grip levels to start falling away soon.
That's embarrassing still.
What, do they have no points?
But is
so
that down
far
to
off
their
the pace.
Is that down to their budget or what?
Have they changed the pit lane on entrance for
Yes.
this year?
They did for this year,
Yes.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
that looks a little bit...
Yeah,
different.
that's the way it was last year, but they've changed it to last corner. It's the last corner.
Yeah, it's a longer one, isn't it, this time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that was
Gaining time through the pits. Talking about gaining...
far too long.
Perez? That was an odd penalty. Do we think? Conflicting rules?
Conflicting rules, but
He did gain though, didn't he? He went the right way, but he did gain an advantage by going the right way.
Yeah, but if you're not knowing what's gone on in the corner that you've missed out, how do you know where you're supposed to be? I guess. If the team had gone, you need to give the position back, I'm sure he would have done.
Whoa!
Hi, Tracker.
I took out Perez for you. Oh, for fuck's sake.
I was going to try and pass. I was going to try and pass the Claire there, and I couldn't because you went off.
Oh.
Oh, fuck.
Well, I thought that was
Tracker.
a bit harsh on Perez.
It was a harsh penalty, but
Again, it's what's in the rulebook, I guess.
he did gain an
Tyres
advantage
gone.
because he did come
Tyres
out.
are gone.
Remember the speed
He did
limit.
gain an advantage because he came out in front of Grosjean, didn't he?
Keep that in mind as
Yeah.
you approach.
But then again, wasn't there supposed to be some, leniency in the first lap, first corner, first two corners, I guess you could say, for France?
You'd
Yeah,
Yeah,
think
but that was
so.
Charlie Whiting, wasn't it? Days.
Yeah.
Yeah, again,
Bloody
are we
hell.
mixing?
My tyres are like skates.
You can go in. I've done my pit stop.
My tyres are skates. I'm going to end up back of the grid here.
Like normal then, yeah?
Yeah, like normal. You twat. There we go. We've now got explicit. I can't keep it. Oh, no. I am proper skating here. What the hell?
You'll be laughing, but Magnussen's actually in P1 at the minute.
What? Is this
I am
game
following
drunk?
him. Yeah.
This game must be drunk.
Ast were terrible again.
Haas were
Yes,
terrible.
Do we know why
yes.
Grosjean retired?
I think they just wanted to save the engine and bits, didn't they?
Oh dear. That is pretty pathetic. Home race. What was he, P17?
Yeah. I think even the Williams were faster than Haas.
Williams are
And to start the
faster
race.
than you.
Look after these
I mean, when they won't find each other. I mean, obviously when they won't find each other.
Which, yeah.
Yeah.
What Kubica did that was just so he didn't finish dead last again.
Again. Yeah. Again.
And Russell nearly caught him up with an extra pit stop.
I tell you what, Russell was getting a lot out of that car, wasn't he?
Yeah, he nearly took home points. Well, not points, but, some kudos. He'd overtaken one Toro Rosso, the two Hasses for a while, E16.
Yeah, he's been, especially with the Hasses now as well, because they're doing so bad. He's doing a good job for Williams. I'm not going to repeat what's been said in the chat, by the way.
Repeat it. What have we got going on in the chat? Come on. That's
Okay,
what- it's honest.
Michael Patson said front row grid out. What on earth are you talking about, Tracker?
That'd probably be
He
a
also
bit-
says, be careful, everyone. Tracker is going to accidentally turn his console off, seeing as he is. Quick, make him a mod. Make him a mod.
For those who are
Make him a mod.
For those who are thinking, Henry, shut up. For those who are thinking what that comment was, for those listening to the podcast, it's in relation to a stream that happened a couple of days ago with me and Will with Snooker, and I went to check the baby monitor, and the monitor caught the side of the Xbox, caught the power button of the Xbox.
Yeah.
And I'm,
Does it also not? Does it also
Racing
not,
driver excuse number 44.
does it also
on
not
the
relate to the
snooker
fact?
table?
Yeah.
Does it also not relate to the fact that we started the race last time we did the podcast?
Yeah, I wasn't happy with that
was
start.
Spain. That was Spain. That was two podcasts ago. You were away the last one. We had Sol filled in for you.
Yeah, I was away when I was working hard.
So it was the last one for yeah. Leave him alone.
Thank you. Well, thanks.
Tracker abusing his powers. He'll put his controller down in a minute.
I'm going home. Oh wait, I am home.
Michael Patterson says, "Don't tell Henry Kravitz to shut up, Tracker."
Yeah.
The audience has spoken.
Henry's the cornerstone of this podcast. You know that. What would we do without him?
Apparently so. My position, our positions are gone, guys. Henry, it's your podcast.
I can't do it without you guys. You know this.
I don't know. You do a better job than me for driving now. I'll tell you that for a fact.
We're having a mutiny live on the podcast.
I was going to say that Honda brought a new engine to France.
Yes.
Everybody barring Albon had it, because if Albon had got the new engine, he would have also taken a penalty as well as Kvyat.
Kvyat did well today to come back up the grid.
He did, and they had a little fight at the end, didn't they?
Didn't I read somewhere that Honda deliberately broke the seals on the turbo in the MGU-H or MGU-K, one of the two?
I didn't hear that myself.
I didn't hear anything either. I did hear about Vettel though.
Yes.
Before the race, when they had to, or last night, then they had to change a couple of bits in his engine, didn't they?
Oil pump, intercooler, and spark plugs.
Plugs.
Tired.
Yeah, that's what I heard as well.
Right.
Didn't break any rules according to Parfumé though.
Oh, it's in Parfumé rules.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was okay, as in, you know, isn't it if it's just to the race or something like that, it can be changed for nothing?
If you can prove that it's not, you know, it's going to have an effect. I think they can change it or something. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was an oil leak, so that's easy enough to prove. Spark plugs, probably the same sort of way, isn't it? Yeah. Thingy on them. Intercooler, I'm not sure, but you're changing the oil pump, I suppose you change the intercooler as well. So, yeah, I don't see anything bad in that.
I'm having a very lonely race here in last place.
It's so lonely
Actually,
at
I'm
the
not.
back.
Actually, I'm not lonely. Ocon's behind me, so I'm all right. But it's still, I'm doing absolutely shit.
I'm keeping my pedal to the metal. I can see Lard on the minimap. Wasn't this the race we played off stream at some point, Lard, and you were very close, or is this the on stream?
I think this might have been the on-stream one, because I know it was Canada and Mexico I was really good at.
We should also point out that Renault also brought a new engine to this race.
Did they?
Yes.
Oh, it did work well.
Everybody barring Hulkenberg had it, because if Hulkenberg takes it, he would have got he'd have had a grid penalty as well.
So both McLarens had them.
So as I'm aware, both McLarens and Ricciardo.
We have 5 laps of fuel remaining.
Well, they were sort of best the rest between themselves, I guess, so must have done something.
Yeah. Apparently, Dr. Marco, I found this out after the race, Dr. Marco, Renault brought a new, or an upgraded motorhome thing, and Dr. Marco made some comment about it, saying, oh, but it's Renault turned up late again, or something like that, according to Ted.
Yeah.
But obviously, on the track, Renault decided to overtake one of his cars on the track.
I believe that was Renault's newest one for 10 years, since they brought the team off whoever it was.
Yeah.
I think Will Axton said that in the pre-race F1 YouTube thing. He's a very good watch.
I watched the pre-show on Sky and they were at Endstone. They did a bit of Endstone.
There's some good off-track bits and pieces this year, I've got to say. News and documentaries and stuff.
Speaking of which, after the news, I might actually have something to watch yourselves on the stream.
Oh, he's spoiling us now. He's spoiling us, boys.
Yeah, coming up, a Turn 1 podcast original.
Oh my god, are we getting professional at this?
Yeah, we've got a lot of noise coming in later on. It's alright, don't worry.
Oh, yeah. Just after the race, popping in on a phone call, yeah.
Yeah, pop in on a phone call.
Apparently he's no good at FIFA.
He's no good at FIFA. He lost to Max Verstappen at FIFA.
Yeah, he has played this, though, on stream. We can get it out, why not?
He played 29, didn't he, apparently?
Yeah, he played it on stream during the week.
Yeah.
I don't think he chose McLaren as his team.
I don't. I just saw him streaming. I didn't see. Oh,
Yeah.
as soon as I got into it, it was finished. So
How's it going in the chat? Anything new at all? Or
no, nothing at all.
Right. Okay.
I think they're fixated on your racing tracker, to be honest.
What terribleness.
Yeah. Well, you said that, not me. I'm just thinking there, watching your
Watching
racing.
my end, yeah. It's all right. I mean, I haven't done. Apart from that, that was terrible. That.
Michael Patterson just put, "Getting professional." What on earth am I hearing?
At the minute you're hearing very, very.
We've got some bits that we're working on, aren't we?
Yeah. The first
behind the
bit,
scenes.
the video that I've got is very relevant to what's going on in Formula One behind the scenes as well.
Should we talk about that?
No, I want to talk about
Okay.
that after the video.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Just gonna say, you mentioned it.
All the mid-season break. It's good. We're busy for the next. Is it 2 weeks? 3 weeks?
Yeah.
We got next week. We've got Silverstone in another 2 weeks after that.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, and then Hungary, and then we're on the break.
Mm.
Ah, the break.
So we'll do an off-race podcast at some point.
We certainly will.
Yeah.
On lap 11, I'm still 17th.
Well done. We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Lard's not losing any time to me. I'm getting worse.
The thing is, though, my tyres were like ice. There was just like Bambi on ice as I was going down the last few corners of that last lap before the pit stop.
You'd burnt through the carcass by keeping your foot down and spinning your tyres.
What do we think to the tyre situation today?
Oh, I knew you were going to bring. Well, shall we talk about tyres? Because that was mentioned in Canada as well.
Let's do it. Tyres, open it up. Henry, you start.
Okay, so in Canada, a couple of teams would like us to go back to last year's tyre compounds they were to use, maybe, compared to this year's. But they need 7 teams to agree with them to get it changed, because they can't get it changed from safety grounds. So Ferrari and Red Bull in Canada were the two that wanted the tyres changed. Obviously, all the Mercedes teams are going no, but
It was way too confusing for us lot, though, the tyres last year.
Oh,
This
for
way,
soft, high for soft.
much easier.
Yeah.
That's true, apart from the drivers always call them the super softs, the hyper softs, whatever, because they know what the compounds were, and they still call them that. It's like, well, what was the point in renaming them?
I think it's more
the
that
same terms. Yeah.
The worst thing
I
is
think-
having a compound called C4.
yes.
Don't.
No one actually thought of that.
Painfully
Yes,
not.
C1, C2, C3, C4, C5.
C5.
C5, you know, dodgy and just comes on after dark and all the rest of it.
Well, made by Sinclair.
Yeah. But no, they seem to last a long time today. Was it Was it Pierre
It was Gasly, wasn't it?
who took them the longest? Was it?
Gasly took the
Yeah,
softs.
Gasly took
Stroll.
them. Wow, it's a,
Yeah. Stroll was out on the mediums for all
The
but
longest one, eh? 40 laps, was it 40 laps?
something
He did.
like that. Yeah. Because there was blistering, and the team were a bit worried, and it didn't seem to come to anything in the end.
Apart from Bottas, who seemed
I know,
to sort of
Hamilton-
struggle.
yeah, Hamilton was a little worried with it as well. It's like, yeah, but you're cruising.
As he put in the
Hamilton-
fastest lap.
Lap, yeah, I was going to say, he's playing the fastest lap.
Hamilton also complained about the fact his seat had broke.
Well, he shouldn't be such a fat ass then, should he?
Speaking of tyres,
we-
sorry,
Go on, no, go on.
it's ironic that the team started talking about, well, Ferrari not so much, but Red Bull are also the team that have struggled with the loss of aero at the front of the car. You notice that?
Yeah.
They are really, really impacted by the fact that they don't have as many winglets and well, pieces of front wing, since it's been simplified, to divert all that air, that air around the car.
To be fair, though, didn't they basically say they were leaving the engine to Honda and then they'd build around it? So unless they knew what they were bringing, how did they know what sort of aero package to do? Because it's sort of like an in-between of both, I guess, between Mercedes sort of way and Ferrari sort of way.
Oh, excuse me.
But
I just don't think their car is as good as it was last year for Red Bull.
don't they reckon the chassis gone badly as well?
Because that's all you hear from Verstappen in it though. It's this car isn't that good, or this car isn't that good, and yet he's finishing top 4 or top 5 every time so far this season.
Yeah, and isn't he championship?
So is he overachieving in that car, or is Gasly underachieving in that car?
Little column A, little column B. Because the gap between Gasly and Verstappen is massive. That was brought up today.
It's about half a second in qualifying, isn't it, in Verstappen's favour?
Which is a chunk, really, between two teammates.
And they can't exactly work on it, because obviously, like you say, we're in Austria next weekend.
Yep.
Their home race.
Home race, yeah.
Which they won last year, didn't they?
They did win it last year, yeah. Max said that the home support won't really give him an engine boost.
Didn't last year, yet they're still. So I guess we'll wait and see.
Well, no, I suppose, yeah.
They've always whinged about their engines, haven't they?
They always have, yeah. Well, that's what I think, anyway.
I don't think they've. I think when they were winning races, they weren't really bothered, were they? Or winning championships, they weren't bothered.
No. So, is there anything else that we need to add about France? Anything that you think we've missed that we can add at all?
Just really how ominous it looks.
Yes.
From Hamilton's point of view, he's already 36 points ahead, and we know how well he turns it on. In the second half of the season, that's looking ominous for this season ending early.
Yeah.
Also, the fact he was 20 seconds ahead of the next team and overtook up to 7th place or 6th place. So that was a dominant performance today.
It was.
And the fastest lap at the end was interesting because Vettel got it by 0.2 of a second. Yet Hamilton had put it in on the final lap on old tyres. So what was he doing for the rest of the laps?
What's going on with that? What's going on with that Ferrari, eh? Something's not right. Something fundamentally has gone wrong with that car. And like I said, it was a few podcasts ago that I talked about it. And I'm going to apologise here because I named the wrong person. But do you think the fact that James Allison's not in that team anymore, switched to Mercedes, has kind of hampered Ferrari?
Could well be. Look at what he did at Lotus. When he was at Lotus, that was one of the best cars on its tyres, let's be honest.
It was.
Why did he leave, though?
He left because of the work schedule, and then his wife passed away.
Yeah.
His wife passed away first. That was the first thing. And then his work schedule just got to a point that he just decided that enough's enough.
He couldn't come home, in essence. He was always out in Italy. I think he wanted to come back home.
Yeah, to look after his family.
Yeah.
So we say Mercedes are treating their staff better?
I think it's more because it's more local to him.
Yeah.
Say more than anything.
I don't know, because you look at Ferrari from the outside and you go, don't look that friendly. Yet Mercedes, they're all bugging, whatever, after every race, big celebrations afterwards. It does make a difference, I think. Just the atmosphere of the team, perhaps.
I think Ferrari struggled from last year, didn't they, with the morale of the team with Arriva Beni in charge.
And
obviously, I think that's going to take a season or two for that to get out of the system, I suppose.
Yeah. But maybe technical staff are very important. And Red Bull, Ferrari staff, was it? Or Ferrari after Red Bull staff?
Ferrari said that they're happy to. They're interested in signing people, even from Mercedes or Ferrari. So,
well, surely that's where they'd want them from, really.
yeah.
You think, wouldn't you? You would think.
Nice picture, by the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Get him off on screen.
That's it.
So let's rank France. Lard, let's start with you this time. What would you give France?
I would give France probably a 7.
7. Okay, nice strong number. Will?
Yeah, I'd give it a 7. I mean, it's exciting enough all round.
Henry?
7 from me.
Yeah. Will's clock?
He's given it an 8.15.
Why what? Pardon?
Clock. Every podcast. Clock. I'm the same with 7. I think it's a valid 7, if I'm honest. I'm going to create some more light here. This is not working. I had to give my daughter the other light bulb, the other lamp, because she needs it for reading. Oh well, I'll sort the light out eventually. Yeah, I'll give it a 7. I think it was a good race. I think the midfield battles were what kept it going, because it got to a point we didn't even. I can't remember between what about lap 20 and the end of the race how many times we actually focused on the front runners. It was all midfield battles.
I suppose Leclerc could have taken Bottas in the final few laps.
Yeah,
That was a sort of thing. But I suppose if there's any more fallout from France after the podcast, bring it to you next time.
Yeah. So, before we do the news, we're going to just do the prediction scorecard. This is what it stands. So you've seen the scores beforehand. These are the scores after France. And the table looks like this. Will still has a lead of 42.5. Then I jump up to second place because I'm the only person that got first, second, third, and best of the rest correct. I got full 10 points from that. So that's second place. Third place is Lard with 28 points. Fourth place is Henry with 26.5. Jay is in fifth place with 25.5. And Damien, because he never took part this week, we gave him time, stays on 24. It's still close though. I'm catching you, Will.
Oh, should I announce the thing?
Announce the thing.
The thing.
Yeah. If you win, not including me for the predictions, I'm sending you a trophy.
Ooh.
Trophy. The
It
trophy.
won't be high quality, it will be tat. Uttered. But you can have your name on some tat.
You can have some name on some tat. Let's I like tat. I like trophy. Trophy's good. Let's jump across to Henry, and it's time for the news.
The news. We've spoken about obviously Renault bringing an upgrade, Honda bringing an upgrade to France. Renault have praised Hülkenberg this week, but are looking at 2020 options because he's out of contract at the end of the season. Obviously, they have a thing, an option to sign him up for I don't know how many years it is, but obviously they were interested in Ocon, or they were going to sign Ocon last year before. Obviously, Ricciardo said he was going to go and join them. So, would they be stupid enough to get rid of him?
Wasn't Red Bull after Hülkenberg?
I did hear that rumour, yeah.
Who knows then? That could be a bit of a swap.
Hulkenberg going to Red Bull.
Well, they've got a French
Or if
Red Bull.
what about if say Seb, who's fallen out of love with F1 but not driving F1 cars, decided to retire? Would Ferrari take him?
I don't know. I think they'd take Ocon myself. Whether Mercedes would let that happen or not, it's a different story. But
A lot of people would come out the woodwork for Ferrari. Alonso would be sniffing about, he would.
Of course he would. He actually come out and said that if it was a winning car, he'd come back. So
Didn't he also admit this week that they approached him when Rosberg left for Mercedes?
I don't know, mate.
That rumour's
Yeah.
been going around for ages because
Yeah.
then they said, no, we weren't looking at him.
Any other news we've got going?
So McLaren have a new F1 reserve driver.
Yes.
Should we talk about this?
Well, it is the news. I wouldn't have just said any other news
No,
and
no.
you go, oh, that car have a reserve driver. I'm not going to tell
So-
you who it is until next week at Austria.
I was waiting for you to say who it was.
Oh, do you want me to say it?
Go on.
Sergei Sorokin.
Who's also staying on with Renault. But he's there if Mercedes need him.
Well, that makes sense, really, doesn't it? You know,
Yeah.
being with they're using the engines as well, so might as well have them on books as a reserve driver if needed.
So is that a replacement for a possible Ocon move? Because apparently there are deals going ahead.
I wouldn't know who's going to go where, to be honest, because it's all dependent on what Mercedes do and what the rest of them do.
Well, the thing is, McLaren's locked out. That's the thing, isn't it? And if
Yeah.
the rumour about Hulkenberg goes up, Sorokin could go there.
He's trying to work out who's going to be leaving which team, isn't it, really, realistically?
Because I think Bottas so far is doing enough to save himself, unless he does something really drastic. It's been a solid performance this year, really.
If he doesn't start pushing Hamilton more, would they look at Ocon to replace him?
It's a good point
Still
because even though he did start off very well this season by actually, you know, being ahead of the championship twice.
And now he's sort of dropped off a little bit.
Yeah.
He's still beating all the other drivers. Why, give
Well, except in Canada.
Well, yeah, but other than that, where he had that engine issue, he's bringing home second. You only need one driver to win.
No, let's say Hamilton retires, who do they go for? Who's going to be their long-term driver, if that makes sense?
I suppose Ocon still.
Would they not go for Max Verstappen?
I thought, see, if they want long-term...
You think they'd go for Max Verstappen, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Does Max fit the profile of Mercedes, though?
Well,
But what about
Championship.
But what about someone like George Russell? Because
I think
let's face it, in testing, he pushed that car to the limit, and he wasn't far off of Bottas's time.
I think in 3 or 4 seasons he will probably be there.
Well, he's stuck in Williams for another year after this, at least 2.
Yeah, I think it's probably another 2 seasons.
Yeah, but
Which
they're
isn't
not looking really any drivers for 21 yet until the regulations are sorted out. We won't know those until at the end of October.
No.
Push back again, of course, if that wasn't part of the news.
Yep.
All the teams have decided it's not going to happen until later on, where they'll decide it's still not right.
Do we think teams will change their lineup for next year, or do you think they'll keep it as it is?
I think they'll keep it as it is, keep the status quo for next year and then look ahead to 21 just to change things up.
I think Kubica might go. I know because Nicholas Latifi's been doing a lot of testing for Williams.
Williams did come out and say that they're not looking to replace him yet.
Yeah, but his sponsors aren't happy, are they?
Well, the car's just crap, innit? There's no other way to put it.
But Latifi's putting in really good times comparative to George Russell and beating Kubica, so why wouldn't you change him?
I think they need an invest. I think we've said this before. They just need an investment now, don't they? They need somebody to come in and just go, here's some money, off you go.
Yeah.
I thought they already had that investment. Wasn't Crofty on about that? That they do have an investment. It's not as if it'll just go away.
So I will have a Google now.
Speaking of other news, whilst Henry's Googling, speaking of McLaren, staying on that, they are investing in a new wind tunnel to be built at their headquarters, moving away from the Toyota wind tunnel that they are currently using right now. ignore the really old picture. So yeah, another thing that's got to help that team from get back up to the start. Back up to where they need to be, really, where they're winning races.
Yeah, winning races, winning championships.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think everybody wants to be winning races, don't they? It could. If everybody was to, get up there, it could be a good season if everybody was challenging.
Yeah. That's the thing. We've had eras before. This is not new to Formula One.
Yeah.
We had 91, 92, 93, and then 96, 97. It was Williams era. 2000s, for most of the part, was the Schumacher Ferrari era.
Schumacher took that team, didn't he, and just made it his own. And he was involved with everything, every little detail.
He absolutely did. He was very meticulous in doing that. Since then, they just haven't really had that.
Yeah, Vettel doesn't seem to want to do that.
Or is it Ferrari that don't want to accept his help?
I think it's a bit of both. I think Ferrari are set in their ways, is how they work. He's quite reserved because he doesn't post anything on social media. He did get married just after France. He did get married.
Yeah.
But there's no pictures. There's no pictures of that. He keeps his family life to himself. It doesn't seem to fit, does it? The Ferrari and Vettel, it's not a fit. It's not really working, is it? It's not a mold that's working.
Especially after the freedom he had in Red Bull, I guess, which was, the best teams for freedom.
When he went, well, Red Bull were a new team, weren't they? So, they just did, Dr. Marco was just like the chairman. Christian just ran the team. And Adrian Newey just designed the car, and that was it. And he just drove. And that was it.
It still feels a good atmosphere in Red Bull, though. Even with, Marco, being quite a dominant person in that, they all quite open.
Yeah, it's a party atmosphere in there. They were written off at first because of the party atmosphere, and then look where they went. For back-to-back titles.
And McLaren feel the same way now. It feels very nice and fresh with Lando and fresh stuff. And it feels some good vibes coming out there.
Yeah, and the introduction of Seidel as well as the team principal to help. Well, Zach Brown's done a lot to change the team. He's got rid of the Deadwood, and
he's made it a family, hasn't he? Really, and he's put people in that will help them get further back up the front of the grid.
Yeah, they're all going to gel together and work together to reach the aim of being champions again.
I mean, you get the same vibe out of Mercedes, though. They all sort of do it all together.
Yeah.
The teams that aren't so very like that don't seem to be doing that well. There's tension in Haas, there's tension in Ferrari, Williams, Force India, maybe.
Yeah, I suppose Force India Racing Point. Sorry, we've got to call them Racing Point. The thing with Racing Point is that they're going through the transition at this precise moment from Force India to Racing Point, so we probably won't see anything from them in about
till next year.
Year
season.
After. Regulation.
Especially, well, they're going to be buying bits, aren't they? For probably next year, they're probably going to buy bits from Mercedes.
Yeah,
I would say, which is allowed. It's better than having a beating, I suppose.
Definitely better than having a beating. Is that it for the news, guys?
I've just got one more thing.
Okay.
It's a bit of it's some gossip, so take it as you will.
All right.
Max Verstappen has targeted. He wants to compete in the Le Mans 24 Hours one day, and we'd like to do it with his dad.
Fair enough. I mean, that's not uncommon. We had Didn't we have Alex and Martin Brundle in the 24 Hours once?
Hulkenberg done it. And won it. I think. Did he win it?
We know Alonso's went and done it.
Yeah. Alonso's done it.
That's back to traditional F1, though, isn't it? Where drivers could go off and compete in championship.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice to have that.
Talking about that, didn't Chase say 25 races coming for 2023?
25.
25.
That was the aim that Liberty wanted from day one, though, wasn't it? 25 races.
Yeah, I don't think the teams want it. They're happy with 21, aren't they?
But it's 22 possibly next year.
If every track stays on, there'll be 22 next year.
Yeah. But he said that's his target because they've lined up some more places to ask. So I guess we'll see.
Copenhagen will be one. Morocco will be another one because that has been in the press the last few weeks. Morocco.
Yeah.
Wanted another one at the USA as well. So I guess we'll wait and see. But that'll be one busy calendar.
Right. Wow. So, gentlemen, Henry, thank you very much for the news. I'm going to transition back so I got the right screen on here. So, as I said in the French Grand Prix that we were just playing there a second ago, there is an original video coming up, and this is all very relevant. At a precise moment, Formula One, Liberty Media, they're all discussing all the rules going on behind the scenes for 2021. With all that going on, it's perfect timing that, isn't it? With all that going on, we look at the fact that they're looking at introducing a budget cap, something that has been discussed in the past. So, without further ado, little feature that I've done, a couple of minutes long, the history of budget teams, more precisely, manner. Enjoy. In 2010, Bernie Ecclestone invited 3 companies to join the Formula One grid in the form of teams. This would bring the number up to 13 teams with 26 drivers. Their premise was that a budget cap will be introduced across the blanket form of Formula One, the first time it's ever been introduced to the sport. The 3 teams were known as HRT, Team Lotus, which would go on to become Caterham, and Manor Grand Prix, which, due to an 80% stake buyout from Sir Richard Branson, became known as Virgin Racing. With Graham Loudon appointed Director of Racing and John Booth as team principal, Richard Branson discussed his plans for the team at launch. He wanted the team to be able to be financially stable, as well as showing growth in both the team's size and competition over the next few years in order to fight with the established teams. However, whilst the teams were developing their cars, the idea of bringing a £30 million budget cap to the sport was scrapped. This would turn out to be a fatal blow for these up-and-coming teams. Now Virgin Racing were competing against the big boys, however they did have a good driver combination to help them out, with the likes of Timo Glock and Lucas de Grassi. They also invested in innovating the build of the car by using computational fluid dynamics, a technique using numeral analysis and data structure to analyse and solve fluid flows, thus eliminating the need and cost of a wind tunnel. This was a partnership with Worth Research that lasted for 2 seasons. Their first year in Formula One turned out to be, terrible. The problem was the VR01 was plagued by unreliability, such as its gearbox and its hydraulic system. The 2 drivers alone clocked up 18 DNFs, DNSs and non-classified throughout the season, more than any other team on the grid. Into 2011, and with Russian car manufacturer Marussia buying a controlling stake in the team, the name changed to Marussia Virgin Racing. The MVR02 looked to improve on reliability, but did not invest in KERS, the Kinetic Energy Recovery System. Quoted Chief Designer Nick Worth, "The gains offered by the system did not justify the expense in developing it. But much like a repeat of 2010, the car simply didn't perform on the track, leading to Marussia's ending their relationship with Worth Researchers in June 2011. Towards the end of the year, Marussia would complete a buyout of the team and would once again rename the team Marussia F1. The team would partner up with McLaren Applied Technologies to help develop the car, and would move from their location here in Dinnington to former Worth Research premises in Banbury. The 2012 car was designed by Pat Simmons and, thanks to Glock's best ever finish for the team at that time, a 12th place in Singapore, elevated the team to 10th in the Constructors' Championship, finishing ahead of their rivals Caterham and HRT, the latter of which will be ceasing trading by the end of that year, the first of the 2010 teams to fall. 2013 saw Glock leave the team with Chilton replacing him, and Ferrari Academy driver Jules Bianchi replacing Charles Pic. Marussia would continue their battle with their closest rivals Caterham throughout the season, but crucially, another 10th place finish for the Anglo-Russian team led to much needed prize revenue. 2014 saw highs and lows for the team as they entered the turbo hybrid era. With a switch from Cosworth power to Ferrari power, the team secured their first ever World Championship point, finishing 10th in Monaco after an incredible drive from Jules Bianchi. But things would quickly get worse as rumours of financial uncertainty from the team's parent company started to circulate, especially with the struggles of paying both McLaren and Ferrari for their services. Things would get much worse for Marussia, as during the Japanese Grand Prix, Jules Bianchi came off the track under yellow flag conditions and collided with the recovery crane that was recovering the stranded Sauber of Adrian Sutil. He later succumbed to his injuries in 2015, and F1 brought in the virtual safety car in order to prevent serious accidents like this from never happening again. On the 25th of October, Marussia, along with Caterham, announced that they couldn't race at the US Grand Prix due to financial difficulties suffered by the team. Not long after this, the team applied to London magistrates to put them into administration. Even though hopeful, the team would not race for the rest of the season. 2015 saw a rescue bid to save the fledgling Formula 1 team by OVO Energy owner Stephen Fitzpatrick being accepted, and Marussia, now Manor Marussia, exited administration on the 19th of February 2015. The team would use a modified 2014 chassis with 2015 components to bring them up to specification, but this would be the final year the Marussia name would appear on an F1 car. Towards the end of the season, both Graham Loudon and John Booth said they were leaving the team at the end of the 2015 season, citing differences with the new owner. 2016, new team, new name, new livery, new logo. No, not that one. That one. The team was in high spirits, but little did they know that this would be their last. Going into the final race of the season, Manor had 1 point from Pascal Wehrlein's outstanding drive in Austria, and all they needed to do to hold on to 10th place in the championship was to make sure Sauber didn't score any points. This ultimately didn't happen as Sauber picked up 2 points in Brazil, putting them above Manor into 10th place, meaning they had lost out on £30 million worth of prize money. With speculation over new buyers and investors coming and going, on the 27th of January 2017, Just Racing Service, the parent company of Manor F1, collapsed, with all of their assets put up to auction in February. With changes afoot for 2021 and the potential of a new budget cap being introduced for the first time in F1's history, will new teams be allowed to flourish in this new era? Or, just like Manor, will it be the end of the road for independent teams? So there we go. Gentlemen, your thoughts about budget caps? Because obviously back then, the teams were going on board thinking about having was it a £30 million budget cap? And obviously that never happened. Do you think in this day and age, Formula One will actually get around to properly concretely putting into the regulations that there should be a budget cap for the teams to manage?
There needs to be one.
Yeah.
You know, they tried it, but the teams went, oh no, we don't like this. We're going to go and sort our own racing league out. And so to placate them, they scrapped the budget cap after these new teams went, oh yeah, we'll sign up to this. Which frankly was selfish for the teams that did that. You know, they need something because the racing needs to tighten up. I watched the Monaco Grand Prix and then I watched the Indy 500. And you go from a processional dull race where there's hardly any overtaking to the Indy 500 where you get down to like the last 10 or 15 laps and you didn't know who was going to win it.
Yeah. Well,
2 points, I guess.
I'm sorry, before you interrupt, I know we've had discussions along this and we've sat on different sides of the wall, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, I'm going to take a slightly different approach with this one.
Go for it.
1, teams will find a way around it.
Mm-hmm.
2, come under a different category, come under this, come under that, come under that. Point 2, it'll bound to go up every year. They'll go, well, you know, another year, everything's just got a bit more expensive. You'll have to put that up a bit more, and a bit more, and a bit more. And then there's just no point having a budget cap, is there? Let's face it.
I see where you're coming from with that. But would it be best for the teams to standardise? Going back, we've mentioned this before, but standardised parts to help keep that budget cap on track.
I don't consider that a different team then. Might as well spec racing, which I don't enjoy because, everybody's in the same car. That's not a different team. I don't think anyway.
But what about the parts that you can't see, the parts that aren't going to be too affected? So, standard gearboxes, stuff like that. The parts that you aren't going to make a physical change to the car, but are going to help reduce the costs. We're not talking about different aero packages, stuff like that. We're talking about things that every team will use. Like
then is there any point? Because surely everybody's gearbox will pretty much be the same anyway. I'm sure if you go to different teams, the gearbox is different. What makes the difference is the aero and the engine. And you're not going to share them between different teams.
When Honda switched to Toro Rosso and Renault went to McLaren, McLaren had to give the gearboxes to Toro Rosso because they were custom for the Honda. Shouldn't that be something that all manufacturers come around, go, okay, let's invest in this, get a standardized gearbox for all engine manufacturers, and that has to be the thing that goes across the way. Because a gearbox is a gearbox. It's not going to be a big thing that could go wrong. It can be standardized. Engine, I agree. Engine, keep that going. Separate ones. They're the ones that keeps going. Aero, I never said anything about aero. Aero is what defines Formula One cars. But stuff like gearboxes and like little things, surely that can be standardized to make things cheaper for teams to be viable to exist in this modern world.
Not in my opinion. I'll leave that there.
Okay.
We're not going to agree on this, but no.
No, that's fine. It's your opinion, Will. And, we all sit on different sides. Henry, what about you? What do you think about budget?
We do need a budget cap in F1. You don't want to standardize parts. You don't want to have the same. You don't want it to turn into like F2 where all the cars are the same. You want the designers to design a car that's their own unique stamp on it, I suppose. Maybe what they should do is say to the teams in F1, you don't design engines and have people from outside, like Porsche were rumored to come in for 2021. Maybe they can drum up some support from 2021 and get outside people to come in and knock the prices, that down as well.
Yeah,
would be what but we do need a budget cap. It's been rumored 175 million a year, which doesn't include driver wages, travel, marketing, media, and for the top 3 teams, it doesn't include their executives either.
Did it include the engine? Because I thought I saw it didn't include the engine either.
I don't think it does include the engine, no. But
yeah, I mean, if you go standardized parts, then the whole thing of it's the pinnacle of motorsport. It's the one where new technology trickles down to the road cars. Then that goes away.
Yeah.
Because hell, that's where ABS came from. So the new stuff in that's going to be in the road cars in, let's say, 10, 15 years' time comes from Formula One. So, yeah, putting standardized parts in there runs the risk of just destroying that mentality, destroying the creativity from, engineers and designers. But something has to change for the racing to be better.
What would you suggest? Would you say tracks, or would you say it's more than one thing?
I mean, tracks is a main part of it. I mean, you're going to get some duffers in there. I would remove Monaco for one, because
I agree with that.
if you can't pass in there, why is the track there in the first place?
Yeah.
And maybe a configuration of a certain track, like Bahrain a few years ago changed their configuration, and I tried driving it. It was absolutely horrible. And then they changed it back, and then now look at the races we've got there for the past 2-3 years. So yeah, a mixture of tracks and designs for your aerodynamics. They have to be simplified a bit more.
Yeah.
So what, rather than a cap, are we just going, not standardising parts, but limiting the parts, so more regulations on how wide the wing can be, how many elements you can have off it, this, that and the other? Is that a better way to go? But no cap?
A nice compromise. Yeah. I mean, I'm having a read of the what's on. It's published by Autosport.com, but this is what they say. So, a cost cap of $175 million per year is set to be imposed on Formula One teams from 2021 season, obliging Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull to trim their budgets. The number will be enshrined in the newly created Formula One financial regulations, which will stand alongside existing FIA sporting and technical regulations. Let's see, £175 million. £175 pounds.
Pounds.
That would have been something, wouldn't it?
It's going to be a wheelbarrow with a stick in it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, we could join.
Quick, get the milk float. The $175 million figure is seen as a compromise, as the original plan was to start with a higher number with a glide path down to a lower figure. It will be in place for the 5 seasons from 2021 to 2025, although there is a provision for an upward adjustment for inflation. That's kind of what you were suggesting, Will, earlier. The figure does not include several key elements for team spending, notably driver salaries, marketing expenses, and any costs associated with engines. Estimates of what the big teams are currently spending on their areas are not included within the cost cap range from $220 to $250 million. So the reduction is not insignificant, although the midfield teams had been hoping for a final number in the $150 million range. And a dry run has been proposed for 2020, with teams invited to open their accounts for examination in the same way they will do from 2021, but without any regulatory requirements. So
also, just on that, the limit is only for 5 seasons from 2021 to 2025.
Yeah.
So is the plan after 2025 to go, if they can do it, go cheaper, or is it just to get rid of it completely? Because if we're going to get rid of it completely, what's the point of bringing it in now or bringing it in 2021?
The reason they're bringing it in is to make it more sustainable for the sport, more sustainable for the teams, but also entice new teams to come on board, isn't it? It's teams like Porsche who have got a spec engine, a dummy engine that they've got already sorted out. See return of like Toyota. See Aston Martin might even come in as their own word
Team.
Thank you. Oh, jeez Louise. This is why we don't do it on a Sunday. As their own team. But that's the whole thing, isn't it? It's to entice more people to come into the sport. And
if that's unfair, though, isn't it? If down the line they change the rules,
it would be.
Yeah,
I agree completely. And it's going back to what that video was talking about with Manor, HRT, and Caterham coming on board.
Caterham.
I remembered Caterham coming on board, but within 7 years they're all wiped out.
I think Renault promised a budget cap as well by Bernie when he got him to sign up again, didn't he? I think he promised him a budget cap.
I'm going back to your original point, Will. I think the compromise of restricting the amount of things they do with aero, taking parts off, or having limited number of things, I think that's a great idea. I think that's a great way of reducing it. So, like only producing a certain amount of wings, for the season.
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea. I think that would save a lot of money, because there's a lot of money invested in R&D and wasted. What happens to those wings after the first couple of races?
I collect them and put them on my wall.
Henry collects them and puts them on his wall. If anyone
No,
wants to go over to Henry's house, he's got a collection.
Disclaimer, no, I don't. No, disclaimer, I don't. No. But, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you say, it's a waste, isn't it, really?
Yeah.
Thing is, you can't limit how many they can have a season because you've got no idea how many will break.
No.
Limiting the cost or how complicated each part could be, rather than saying it could be, 5,000 bits of wing on it.
Right. Yeah.
I wasn't going to say it on the podcast, so I thought I'd shove that there.
Yeah. I think simplify, front wings, rear wings. Don't let them do too much to it. Would be maybe a step forward as well.
Yeah.
So notice the 3 different ways they were going to go. The concept cars we saw, they seem to have gone off the boil a bit.
Yeah.
Which was like the big thing, what they were aiming for. But,
Yeah, because those cars looked a bit more like the Red Bull 2010X that was in Gran Turismo. The beast that Adrian Newey designed.
So they do look great, the newer cars. But if they're not going to work or make it cheaper, there's no point going that way, because that's not what F1 needs at the minute.
No.
We've just got to wait till October now, haven't we, to see what rules they bring out for 2021.
Yeah, that's it.
I quite like the idea of a dry run, though.
Yeah.
That I'd take that as a,
See, there was a thing that said about after 2025, are they going to get rid of it? I think Liberty Media are smarter than getting rid of it. I think they're trying to start to take power away from the teams, bit by bit by bit. So
they need to.
Yeah. So that then they can go, these are the rules, follow them. You can't change them. We're providing them. Because we had a discussion about this again a couple of podcasts ago. Which other sport do the teams influence their league so much? Can't really be football. Premier League, it's the 20 teams own the Premier League. They all have a share in the Premier League, but they don't make the rules.
Yeah.
But the teams can, vote with their feet. They can just leave and join a different discipline.
In the NFL, the NFL, the officials and that have a word with the team owners and go, okay, this is what the rules are going to be because we want to make it safer for the athletes.
Yeah.
And, there's not often, unless there's like a salary cap or something where, the league goes on strike. I mean, it's not unheard of. Hell, baseball has done it often enough. So you look in the American sports side of things, that there is some sort of power bit with the team owners, but nothing to this extent.
Yeah. So it's
we just got to wait and see. We just got to wait and see, haven't we?
Yeah.
To see how they're gonna marshal it, and if anybody breaks the rule, how they're gonna, what the penalties are going to be.
Yeah.
Or is it going to be a serious penalty, or is it just going to be a fine, so to speak?
Well, that's the thing. If you look at like financial regulations in football, FIFA financial regulations or UEFA financial regulations, if you look at the case with, I know we're talking football in a Formula One podcast, but look at what's going on with Manchester City. They've broken the financial regulations in regards to how much you spent over the last couple of years. I think the rule is the team has to at least break even, isn't it? They can't go so much into debt. And they're being, they could be chucked out of the Champions League because they're breaking those rules. There's either serious fines or Champions League. And because of how far they've gone, it's Champions League. Maybe that kind of thing, not saying chucked out of Formula One World Championship, but maybe imposing like a race ban or fining the teams rather than 5-place grid penalty, 10-place grid penalty, those kind of things.
Yeah, banning them from the race, from one race, or maybe two if they go really, really far over.
That's it.
But then aren't they just saving more money by not entering? And then you've lost maybe Mercedes from 2 races, which okay, some people would be pleased about, but they bring in so many people to watch the sport. If you knew Florida would turn up next week, would you watch?
But you can't give them just a slap on the wrist and go, okay, don't do it again.
Yeah.
You think that
it must
you think they would just
punishment to get the crowd.
It is a very hard thing to regulate. And we're all spitting. Go on, sorry, Henry.
I was going to say, would it loss of championship points or a removal of a team's principal FIA license? Do you think that's harsh, or do you think that would be fair if they were the penalties?
I think if it's a financial thing that's going on, then a financial penalty is what should be implied.
If they've already spent more and it's worth, you're taking the penalty because you know you're being more competitive and you're going to win. So it's going to cost you another 50 million, but if you win the championship, you've won 500 million.
But maybe then they might come into something along the lines of a percentage knocked off their winnings. It might be something like that. Because if they go over the budget intentionally, if it's $1 million here or $1 million there, it's not going to be probably be a small penalty. But say if they went over by about 15-20%, then that would be something that they have to look into and go, okay, well, what's the penalty? And look at penalties a bit like how the FIFA and UEFA financial regulation, fair play regulations coming in. They need to do something along the lines of that to help regulate it rather than... It's a hard one to call, really, isn't it?
Yeah, because you can't penalise the driver, that's the thing. Because it's not the driver's fault as such, even though they are part of the team.
Yeah, I think you can't punish the driver if it's the team's fault.
But then look at Spygate. For McLaren were effectively chucked out of the Constructors' Championship. The Drivers' Championship still happened, but Constructors' Championship didn't happen, and they were fined $100 million.
It's very case specific, though.
Yeah,
but that still proves there was nothing to do with Hamilton or Alonso, but because of something that happened with the team, a harsh penalty had to be taken in order to prove a point. Maybe that's what we need for the budget cap. Do you know what I mean? Just go. If you do that, this is what's going to happen. They'll go. Someone will probably go, nah, it's not going to happen. Then it does happen, and they'll think, oh shit, it's happened.
It's dependent on how many teams right now are spending more than that cap.
Yeah.
Maybe they need to do this dry run, see how much teams are spending, and then try find some middle ground there, rather than just pluck a figure from midair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Haas spent Renault spent $190 million last year.
Right.
Just out of interest. McLaren spent $220 million last year.
Mm-hmm.
Mercedes spent $400 million. Red Bull spent $310 million. Ferrari spent $410 million. Toro Rosso $150. Williams $150. So,
but then those teams that are spending more are making all their own parts. Those teams that are buying parts which are cheaper. So you're going to have to do it on a two-tier system. Teams that construct all their own parts get more budget.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not really fair to say, Mercedes, you've only got 150 million. Because, you're producing the engines, which you've got to sell to Williams. You're producing wings that you're selling to Racing Point. That's not fair, is it?
No.
They haven't got those costs, so they're not having to pay that. So it's no loss to them. So it wouldn't quite work like just saying everybody's got that budget.
No, I understand that. But I think, like you say, the dry run will get everything else sorted out, really, see how it goes. To be fair, we'll have to see what happens in October, what decisions come out and what the regulations say. And we're going to have to wrap that up, I'm afraid. Gentlemen, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
No worries.
I'll do the wrap up now. So you can follow us on Twitter at Turn One Podcast. You can go to our Facebook page, Turn One Podcast. You can email us, podcastturn1@gmail.com. You can also check out our YouTube page. If you just go into YouTube and type in Turn One Podcast, you'll see that I'm starting to upload all the previous YouTube, video podcasts on there as well. My thanks to my guests. My thanks to everyone here as well that is live on the chat. Thank you ever so much for your input. We'll be back on Saturday, 8 till 10, after the Austrian Grand Prix qualifying. And until next time, we will see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.